Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Advisor. My name is Lisa Urbanski. I'm the co-host of the show, and we have a really, really awesome guest for you today. She is wickedly awesome. So her brand is called Wickedly Branded. And this morning, I had the pleasure of creeping on her a little bit to get to know her brand so that we could do the show together. And when I looked at her logo, I got this like feeling of mystery and, ooh, I want a little bit more of that. And so I was so excited to jump on the show today and meet her and get to expose more of her to you guys. She has a podcast on her channel. She's been spreading her knowledge of the branding game and how to stand out in this space, which is so difficult to do these days because of how saturated it is. So today we're going to dive into that a little bit more. And she's going to talk to us about the 3 C's framework: client stories, and a powerful Wizard of Oz metaphor. So stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to thank Spreaker and iHeartRadio. And I also want to thank our fans and our listeners and the people that watch us, because without you, we would not have Beverly here. So if you could just do one thing, take a second to like and subscribe, that would be amazing. All right. Beverly, so good to have you here. So good to meet you. So good to all the things. I had a blast in the last 15 minutes, and we're just getting started. How's it going?
Lisa, thank you so much. And thank you for creeping on me. I love that. And I love that you were intrigued by the Wickedly Branded. That is every brand's, I think, hope is that it creates a little bit of mystery to get people to want to learn more. I love being on the show, and I'm excited to be able to do this with you. And we've done it for Stacy for a couple times and now with you. So I'm excited to kind of like get to know you a little bit better today too.
Amazing, amazing. So you are an author, you are a podcast host, and you are the founder of this brand that you recently rebranded, which is now called Wickedly Branded.
Yes. I'm also the fairy godmother of brand clarity.
Wow. Yes, yes.
I have over the last almost 30 years helped hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, what I say, awaken their brand magic and bring it boldly to life. And I just really enjoy helping entrepreneurs, help them find their place, their voice, their story, and be able to share it with the world in a way that makes them more visible, but also helps them connect to their ideal customer, the perfect customer for them.
Yeah. It's like it's this magical potion, but it's crazy. Like there's so many dynamics to it. I'm excited to dive in more. You have a vulnerable story for us. I would love to hear about it, about building a business that looked successful but felt disconnected. And that's exactly what you just talked about is how do you stand out? How do you be authentic? So can you share with us and talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been on a journey. Like about 13 years ago, I married an active duty army fella, a soldier, and in that process had to take my VP of marketing show on the road. And by doing that, I had to be super mobile, and I just started like freelancing for myself with some clients. And it's turned into over the 13 years, it's evolved and grown and changed. And in that process, our brand has evolved and grown and changed. But also, I've evolved and grown and changed. And I remember really clearly about 3 or 4 years ago, it was like midnight, Lisa, and I was sitting in front of my screen. Everybody was asleep. My kids were asleep. My husband was asleep. And I remember sitting at the computer, my eyes burning, my shoulders, like, oh my God, I was like, stress everywhere. And I was wondering, the question is, why do I always feel behind? That feeling of like trying to keep up with everyone else, do all the things. Entrepreneurs have to carry so much weight. They have to like spin the plates and do some juggling and do all the things. They have to be accountants. They have to be a marketing strategist. They have to do the actual skill that they actually want to do and how they want to serve the world. And I just felt like I could never catch up. No matter if I worked till midnight or I started at 3 a.m., it was like this never-ending treadmill of work, but didn't see a whole lot of progress. And I mean, I was by all stretch, by all accounts, societal accounts, I was very successful. So like I had money coming in, but the thing was, is I was like disappearing in the process, like slowly but surely melting, like the Wicked Witch. I was melting. I had lost the thread of what I was doing and why I had started.
Oh,
That is the thing I think that impact can change everything. It's not always loud, and sometimes it's just this quiet ache inside of you that tells you that something is completely off, that this is not where you're supposed to be, that there's something more to it. So I use this metaphor of the Wizard of Oz. Obviously, we have the Wicked name, but I love the Wizard of Oz. I love the movie Wicked. But you know the story. Dorothy, she's lost in Oz, right? She's following the Yellow Brick Road. She's chasing this promise of someone who can finally send her home back to Kansas, right? Well, she believed that if she could just get to that shining Emerald City at the end of the path, that the wizard would fix it. What that's I think what we do as entrepreneurs, right? We think if we can just get that one more thing, that one more do that, one more thing, get to that one more course, one more certification, one more client, one more, it's always like this one more thing that's kind of off in the distance that we're chasing to finally feel like we're successful or we've arrived
totally.
in some way, shape, or form. We chase the guru, we chase the course, we search for the right funnel, the perfect website, the 90-day plan that's gonna get us to six figures. We believe that if we just find the right thing, it'll all fall into place. But
Yeah,
here is my wicked truth. My wicked truth in this, Lisa, is that when Dorothy finally got to the wizard, he wasn't magic. He wasn't just a man. He was just a man behind the curtain pulling these levers and projecting grand illusions on some curtain, right? But what she did realize in that moment was that she had the power all along. And
totally.
just like her, I had to learn the hard way. I had to go down my path and meet all my obstacles and do all the things. But I learned that there's no one coming to give you clarity. No magical expert to hand you your brand voice or your audience or your confidence. Clarity isn't something that you go on a journey to find. It is something you have to create for yourself very intentionally. It's what happens when you stop outsourcing your authority to others, to your competitors, to these other skill sets that you think you have to learn, and start trusting your journey, your voice, where you've been, and how you really can help. And when that's the moment, that is the moment, Lisa, I stopped spinning in this tornado of overwhelm and I decided to plant my feet and choose my path forward, not some random yellow brick road that I was to follow by somebody else's journey. And I leaned more into my heart, my wisdom, and my courage because I had them all along. I just wasn't listening to them.
And you and so many other people. And I love that you put that into words in a story like that because it's so impactful. And I'm feeling the things and I'm actually visualizing it because so many of us want a map. We want to be told where we're going to go. How do we
Yeah.
find success? And so we go here, we go here, we go here, we go here, we
Yeah.
lose ourselves. And then in the end, when we have that awakening, we realize that we've been searching for ourselves the whole damn time,
Whole time. The
the
whole time.
whole time. But what a powerful, powerful place to reach, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I also learned like if my brand isn't connected to who I am, my why, my purpose, my heart, then my art, my marketing, my business will always feel hard
Yeah.
because it's like I'm fighting up the hill as opposed to going with what is actually true and in alignment to me. So it became this something that like almost like a a, a deep breath of like relief to finally have to stop searching for that. But it
Amazing.
wasn't easy in that moment.
God,
It
no.
never was really easy in that moment. What has actually caused that kind of, I guess I almost like a freak out or a meltdown or whatever you want to call it in those moments, it was I lost some clients and I had some time in my calendar I never had before to be able to journal, to be able to step back, to be able to look at things differently, and to be able to realize for myself that this wasn't working and almost actually closing the business, Lisa, because I was so dissatisfied. And then once I started to look at the things that made me excited and drove me and made me happy in the business, joyful in the business, it created joy outside of my business. It like seeped through in this ripple effect, which I can have some stories about, but it seeped through and it just created a whole different level of my life. and maybe a little bit of it is, I'm 50 now and I have some wisdom and I've lived a little bit of a life and I've helped enough people. But it's also, you have to be ready to step into that. It's a little scary. It's a little exciting. It's almost like stepping out of an airplane with the parachute. Like you just really hope the
Mm,
parachute's going to open and it's gonna
totally.
happen. But yes, it is so incredibly powerful, and you can never go back after you've like there are things that are going to try to do that, like the flying monkeys. They're going to come at you, right? With imposter syndrome and doubt and fears and all the things. Perfectionism is one that comes at me all the time. Like I want to be perfect. But I've learned like how to swat them away and say, progress, Beverly, one step in front of the other, just like not perfection. Like let's do this. But it's all grounded in my alignment, my truth, my story, how I show up every day now versus looking at everybody else's opinions or how another marketing company is doing something. Like that works for them, great, but that doesn't work for me. This is what feels right
Exactly.
for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The quiet the noise and just, it takes those times of really hitting those dark, deep valleys to
Yeah.
crawl and climb and claw out. And then when you're out, it's like the sun is shining and you just
Yeah.
feel like effing amazing. And it's like, now I get it. Now I get why I had to go through that because you have a new understanding of life in that way. And I'm so glad you didn't shut down because like I said, for someone to make an effect on me because of looking at their logo and what you created, like there is so much here. And I would love if you could discuss the difference between visibility and real connection because everyone needs visibility in their business, but it's so hard to get someone to stop scrolling. It is so hard. It's like a fine art. So can you help us out, girl? Help us out.
I think I'm still kind of finding my voice in that, but I think that the truth in that is that visibility is just being seen. Like, right, you can slap a logo on anything, but connection is something that you feel. It's feeling something. One of the things that I love, like if you just talk about Nike, for example, there's some really big brands out there that do this pretty well. When Nike's slogan is just do it, what is the most important word in that phrase?
Uh, So I don't know. What is it
Just.
just?
It's
Just because
just.
it's the first word.
But it's
Just.
not even the first word, but it's like you just need to get up and go do the thing, right? Just make the first
Just.
step. Just just do it. Like that is so powerful. If you think about that phrase from that perspective. And to me, it's about that's a difference. They could have just said do it, but just do
True.
it is a whole different feeling. And that is the connection that I think brands need to do more of. And they're great storytellers, right? They show these people who are sweating and just grueling through like
Yeah,
getting to that finish line and all the things. Like they do such a good job of
totally.
storytelling in that. So you can feel the just do it because you've seen the just do it kind of play out in some of their ads and their TV commercials and things like that. I've seen brands that have thousands of followers, Lisa, but they have zero impact. Like it's just
Yeah,
crickets, right? And then I've seen brands that have 400 Instagram followers and who sell out every single offer they have
yeah.
because they know exactly who they're talking to and why it matters. Your
Yeah, there's
audience
this
does not, yeah,
sorry, there's a misconception of like the more followers someone has, the more popular they are. That and it drives me batshit crazy because it's like you as soon as you hear my name, you're gonna go look me up to see how many followers I have, right? And then
yeah,
that's gonna determine like how
hmm
important I am in this world. So I love that you said that because it's so true. So true.
yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
interrupted you. I had to. It was like,
No,
ah.
no, it's so true. I would rather have 100 people on my email list that actually want to buy from me than
Yeah,
10,000 people. And then my stats are all like 8% open rate or whatever, but that's not the
yeah,
reality of it. So we clean
Totally.
our list every 3 to 6 months. We're cleaning our list and getting rid of people because we want the right people in there. And we don't want to just be part of the noise for people. Like if we're just showing up because we're just showing up, like that's not okay for us. So, and I feel like my real audience, the people that I serve, my clients, the ones that are the female founders, solopreneurs who are purpose driven and are heart centered and they want to help, they're in helping professions and want to help people. They don't want a performance from me. They don't want me to like somehow check all these boxes and do all these things. They want somebody who's really a partner who's been there, done that, has some grit about them, right? And
Mhm.
when your brand mirrors the beliefs of your ideal customers and their beliefs and what they think and what they're going through, your audience doesn't just scroll, they lean in to your content. They listen. They
Mhm.
see themselves. They connect. They feel like you're like a friend before you're even a friend because they know you get it. But if you're only speaking the truth that is your truth that connects to your ideal customer, right? So, but so many people they block that connection. And that again comes to those flying monkeys, Lisa. It's the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome and the perfectionism and overthinking and even the fear of being too much.
Yeah.
It's like, and I think women especially, I'm sure men feel this too, but I feel like women especially have this societal pressure of all the shoulds we've been raised with. A girl should cross her legs and wear, makeup, and
Mhm.
she needs to have children, and she needs to do balance her life and look perfect on Instagram and all these things. And again, it becomes this tornado of shoulds.
I just puked in my mouth a little.
Yeah. Please do, because that is a horrible feeling. But all of us have
Oh,
felt it. I still feel it.
yeah, I feel
And
it.
it's like
Yeah.
this, like you're under the thumb of something that's is non-existent, but so prevalent everywhere.
Yeah.
And that you end up shooting all over yourself. And then who is left behind? What is left there? And so what we do is we help our clients step out of the tornado of overwhelm and let, like you said, the sun back in. Who you're supposed to be outside of these shoulds, outside of everything else. And who is the exact client that is looking for you? You as the guide, your story, your trauma, your messy middle, all of that. Who's looking for that to help them out? Because you've been there, you've done it. You have you have the expertise to do that and help them get to the other side of that. So yeah, it's this visibility is being seen and connection is being felt. How do you make them feel? And you can't make them feel connected to you if it's just a logo on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like that's flat and one dimensional and means nothing.
Totally. Totally. I think all of us can relate to having people online that when we hear from them and see them, we don't even know them, but for some reason we want to hang out with them so badly because something about them just feels so good and warm
Yes. Yes.
and it's I think it's like you talked about and what I want to talk about next, if that's okay with you, is like the storytelling aspect of delivery marketing, selling yourself per se, but through storytelling and authenticity. So, why does storytelling build trust?
Well, you talk about the people you want to like hang out with. Like I always wanted to like have dinner with Oprah or like Mel Robbins. I love her. There are
Yes.
people that I would love to just like have at my table and have like an honest conversation with. But those
Yeah.
are people who tell stories really, really well, Lisa. So I love that.
Hmm.
That's a great way to talk about that. They know their stories are like not everyone else's, but there are certain people who are struggling with the same things. And Mel, for me, she's in her early 50s, she's going through menopause, she's built a business. Like there's so much that connects me to her. She has children that I feel like we're
She's super
friends.
anxious. Yeah, she's anxious. She talks about anxiety all the time.
All the
All
time.
the time.
Yes, yes. And it's something that I have recently been dealing with. I also was recently diagnosed with ADHD. And so that happened during menopause. And if it wasn't for menopause, I would never have gotten to that place. And so, like, there's such a connection with somebody who just shares their stories that way. I know that we've talked in a previous episode with Stacy, Lisa. I did a whole episode on storytelling and the power of it and why it's so important. But essentially, stories is how we remember things. Like it's the connection that we make. Like the story of the Wizard of Oz. Me telling you the story, immediately you remember the story, and now you're going to remember it based on like your own story because I've made that connection for you. That's how we trust and how we build trust because people can connect to the story and remember your ideas in a way that they couldn't before. If you
Hmm.
just laid out, if I just said 77% of all, you'd be like, what? What was that number again? You wouldn't remember it in an hour. You would not remember an hour. But now I think you're probably going to remember the flying monkeys. You're going to actually the next time you see one coming at you, you're going to be like, oh, here comes the flying monkeys. You're going to label it
Yeah, I'll be
now.
like, shh.
Yeah, yeah, swat that crap away, right? So it names it and gives it power in a way that it never had before unless you name it. My therapist one time, I feel like any high performing person should have a coach and a therapist. So my therapist one time
10
told me
therapists. Just kidding.
it's one therapist told me one time, she said, that's just an echo and a shadow. And when I named it an echo or a shadow, it like lost its power for me because of it. So now it was like the flying monkeys. I have a way to like frame it now to like just it just gives me a much different perspective about what's happening. So but they are the ways that you build trust and you connect in a very fundamental way that people can remember what you have to say. So I'm going to tell a story about a
Okay.
client. Her name is Ashley, and she is the founder of a company in Washington State called A to Z Interpreting Services. So they do deaf interpreting for people who cannot hear, right? So very important. She has a whole very personal story of how she came into this particular industry. But when Ashley first came to us, she'd already had a business for several years. She seven figures, like does really well. But she told me it doesn't tell my story. It doesn't even feel like me. It's like a placeholder because I have to have a website, but it does nothing for me to feel like, doesn't say how we're different. It doesn't even like talk about like why this matters to me. It was flat. So the thing was, Ashley wasn't running just a interpreting agency. She was a fierce, like fire in her belly advocate for inclusion and access and dignity for the deaf community. So what makes her different is not that it's just a service that she offers, it's how she offers it. She doesn't just assign interpreters randomly. The company hand selects the right interpreter for each assignment based on tone, client needs, cultural context, relational fit. To her, this work was not transactional, it was transformational, and it was important. But none of that was coming across in any of her marketing. Like it wasn't on her website, it wasn't anywhere in her brand. Her message just simply did not reflect her vision or her heart, her mission, her heart. And that wasn't holding her back per se, in like being a successful person, but it was holding her back in the sense of like confidence and like showing up as herself. And if she raised her prices, she felt a little unsure and she wasn't able to show the value she had. And she wanted to pay her interpreters a strong rate that they deserved because what they do is so important. So it was really not a visibility issue, it was a confidence issue for her. So together, we dug really deep into her values, her story, her client experiences. We rewrote her brand voice to reflect her fierce, like I love her passion so much, her fierce empathy and this meticulous integrity that she brings to her work. And we built a site and messaging that mirrors her advocacy. And now Ashley completely owns her story, Lisa. Like she is proudly
Beautiful.
talks about her purpose. She shows up online with clarity and confidence. And that confidence has rippled through every part of her business, from how she talks about her services to how she sets her pricing to how she leads her team and values the interpreters she works with. That is the power of brand alignment. And she's so
Totally.
excited about her business. Like she now has like logo, she's got stickers she's purchased, she's got shirts, she's got, I mean, like all of a sudden now she wants her brand on everything because it fully
Yes.
feels like her for the first time. But when we started talking about what her business needed to get to that point, she realized that there were systems and processes that were not in place yet to make that full vision happen. And she really like, did the work to make it happen. But when you feel seen in your own business for the first time, think about that for a second. She's been in business for how long? 7 figures, but she felt seen for the first time in her business.
Powerful.
She felt seen. She leads differently now.
Totally.
She shows up with so much more confidence, right? She
Mhm.
owns that story. She proudly talks about her purpose. Like it has it's such an honor because it's like I see them come out of this cocoon like a butterfly,
Yeah.
right? Like it's this amazing thing that she stepped out of that tornado into the sun. She got real clear in who she is. And now her messaging and her branding and everything reflect it. And she goes out in the world. It's like I say it's like the ruby red slippers, but I use iridescent slippers. It's like she stepped into her own version of the ruby red slippers, and now she's home.
Beautiful.
She's finally home where she was always meant to be. And that confidence just, I mean, her team is more excited. That power of brand alignment when you feel like, you just, it's so amazing. And you attract people who value you. And that's like they see what makes you extraordinary now for the first time. And that just it brings your best clients to you, the right people to you. You are now like magnetic because you literally vibrate differently in the world.
Mhm.
So to me, it's not just a logo. It's never been about just the logo. It's like being felt and seen and like finding the perfect pair of shoes so you feel at home in your own brand, your own skin, your own purpose, and how you serve in this world. And that when she's in her like in she's in her zone of genius, in her place, the amount of power that has for her and the amount of things that she will do in this world, it will magnify her impact in ways she didn't even know possible. Oftentimes, our clients will say, you see my business so much bigger than I see my business because I see what's possible if they actually sit where they're supposed to sit.
Mhm.
But we're so busy doing all the shoulds and all the checklists and keeping our head down and doing the midnight and staying in that tornado of overwhelm that we don't see the possibilities we even have for our business. She was afraid from like posting online and hosting events to like now she posts every day and she's booking more clients and she's getting DMs like I felt like you were talking to me.
Crazy. Love it.
And that is brand magic. That is brand magic. So don't just tell stories about what you do, tell stories about what your audience feels like before and after working with you. Speak to their hearts, not their heads. You can add in a couple of stats if you'd like, but I don't feel like that's what really resonates anymore, Lisa. Maybe it never really did. I don't know if it did or not, but I feel like when you speak to their hearts and you speak to that transformation, that's brand magic. And that's the
Yeah,
real impact you can make.
it's the relatability. It's the it's the ability to relate, but also see that it's genuine. So you're telling me that story and it almost brings tears to my eyes because I think a lot of our audience can relate to even not business, but like personal, like being involved in a situation where you just don't feel like yourself. There's
Mhm.
anxiety, there's this disconnect, your intuition is like, why am I here? What am I doing? I don't belong. It doesn't feel right. I'm working this job. It doesn't feel like me, but then when you
Yes.
step into a place that feels like home,
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm.
a whole different version of yourself, kind of.
It
It's
is.
like a butterfly effect. And when you said
Yes.
that she transformed, I sat up straight and I felt it. I was like, she literally did the thing with the halo in the sun. And
Yes.
like, she's like,
Oh,
nothing can stop me now, right? Like, cue the
yes.
music in the background. She's at the top of the mountain. Now
Yes.
it's like, now it's a
Yes.
different kind of climb. It's a different kind of climb, but that's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
so much. And
And
what a gift for you. How did you feel? Like that is like
this
the
is my
ultimate
favorite.
reward. Like no money in the world could pay for that. Like that feeling, you got to bottle that and like keep it in your locked up. That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes. And that I get to be on all kinds of journeys like that with people. And that's my driver. That's what makes me excited. And that's what I think is my purpose on this planet. So when I got very real on that Tuesday night at midnight and had to do all the work, Lisa, for me it was like, you are dulling your purpose. This is not the, you doing this spreadsheet for this thing for whatever is not where you are supposed to be. You are meant for bigger and better things. And I wanted to be the person that I needed 13 years ago to help me see what was possible, to help me put on those magical shoes so that I didn't just grind away for 10 years. And so for me, it's showing up in that way. And I really enjoy working with women because I feel like we haven't been allowed some of that for so many years. Like we're starting to do the whole corporate CEO business thing. We're getting really good at that as women. But this sitting, we almost had to be men to be in that space. And now to like sit in our own femininity, our own power, our own zone of genius, what we're really good at, that's where we need to go now. That's the next shift, I think, for women. And I want to be part of that process so that you can build. I'm going to give our listeners right now a golden piece of advice if they so choose to take it. What I learned was I can build the exact business that I want
Mhm.
that, that balances my life exactly what I need. I don't have to work 80 hours to do this thing. I can work less hours and still be a mom, be a spouse, do the things that I want to do. Now, I work hard, don't get me wrong. There's times I work a little extra hours, but I have given myself permission to do the things that I think are best for my life and my needs. And so I'm really good at time management. I'm really good at chunking and stacking my activities so that I get things done and I'm more, I think, productive. And I've also gotten really good at giving away work that doesn't fit for me. So I am not an accountant and I will never be an accountant, and I have a really good accountant. I'm
Me too.
also really good at ideas, but I it takes me a long time to get wrangle the idea and make it happen. So I have somebody on my team who does that. That's her whole job, is to like take my ideas and make them come to life.
Beautiful.
But that's my zone of genius.
Hmm.
Because if I spent all my time doing all those things, then I couldn't spend the time with Ashley to help her find her brand magic. So I need to make sure that I have that space, that time to be able to help her find that. So I'm at a point, maybe that's because I had some success before, that I'm able to offload some of those things and know. But if I had known this before, I would have done it sooner because that investment was worth way more than more ads on Facebook or like that was a waste of money. So knowing that now is some wisdom that's come from my journey, but certainly lots of things that I've learned along the way from that. But I can build the business that I want that works for my
Hmm.
life. It doesn't have to be anyone else's construct. It can be my completely own construct of what works for me and my family, and that's it. And my clients. There's nothing else I have to worry about. So I have built a business that works for me. My business is actually kind of like a real estate firm or a law firm. I have people who are under my umbrella, but they own their own businesses under my umbrella. So I encourage entrepreneurship. I encourage that. I want that for them, and I mentor them because I wish I'd had that so much sooner than what I have now. So that's my business because I believe in that and that works for me, but that's not going to work for everybody else. So that's
Right.
something that you just have to kind of come to terms with what works for you and decide this is what works for me, and that's the kind of business I want to have. So it's interesting when you get to the point where you decide, like, I give away far more work now than I used to be like the micromanager who had to do everything and whatever. I have found systems and processes to clone myself in ways that help you scale and give it away and be confident in it and all those things. Like now I gladly give the things away that don't drive me, that drain me. And just sit more in the things that make me happy and really joyful about the world that we live in. Like I used to dread 3 a.m. wake ups of stress and anxiety, Lisa, the things you're talking about. Like,
Yeah, the
but now
cortisol
it,
spike.
yeah, yeah, like the upcoming client call I have to have about pricing or whatever. But now
Mm.
I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Because I know I'm going to live in that magic that you're talking about. Like, what an honor
Yeah,
to live in that kind of magic. So it's a whole different vibe. And I'm a way more fun person to be around with my family. Like my vibe is completely different than the stressed out 3 a.m. person. So my husband's like, gosh, like you're just so happy. And it is because I'm doing what I was meant to be on this bed. For now, who knows what's going to happen in a couple of years,
yeah.
Lisa? Like maybe I'll say I need to do something else. But for now, this is exactly where I need to be. But
It's
you
the
know, in this,
foundation of your
yes,
power. That's the foundation.
yes,
And I feel
yes.
that when you're speaking, and I'm picturing like myself when I was in the 9 to 5, handcuffs of like thinking about everything you're talking about, but it seemed like it wasn't achievable. Like living that life could not happen. And so many entrepreneurs, so many of our listeners, so many people are in that spot right now. So
Yep,
I really want them to hear that doing your ultimate, living your ultimate dream is actually possible.
totally. But you have to be clear and you have to have intention.
Mhm.
And once you have clarity and you have intentional steps, the next best steps for yourself kind of laid out, then anything is possible. But without the clarity, like then you just spin because you're not able to plant yourself in that foundation, like root yourself in who you are so that you can make the easy yes, no decisions going forward. One of the things they do for the president is they give him like how many black suits and how many blue suits or whatever. Like he
Right.
never has to really choose what he has to wear because it's one less decision he has to make as the president of the country, right? They have to make so many decisions. So this is like when you're clear, it's one less decision you have to make for yourself. It frees that noise inside of you. It calms the thoughts. Like there's just so much that happens that centers you when you're clear. I actually have a framework, Lisa, that I kind of I talk about
Yeah. Is
into
this
some
the
of
three C's?
yes, yes.
Yes. Tell us. Tell us about the
Okay.
three C's.
Okay, so the three C's of connection and impact that we see that is becomes essentially the heartbeat of your brand is it kind of comes to a couple of things. So you've probably heard the advice, just be consistent, Lisa. Just be consistent.
Oh,
Or just get clear on
that
your
makes
niche. Just
yeah,
get clear on your niche and you'll be fine,
so
right?
annoying. So annoying. Yeah.
But most of that, no, most of that gets tossed to the side like glitter at a parade,
Well,
right? With
it
no
is true.
substance
It is
behind it.
true, but
Just
yeah,
toss it
totally.
around. Just be consistent. Just find your niche. So let me
Yeah.
break it down for you in what we call the three C's of connection and impact. These, what we think are the heartbeat of that magnetic, Ashley vibrating brand that most purpose-driven women and founders that we help we use. So clarity is the first one. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Who are you here for really? So this isn't the narrowing of your niche just to narrow it down because we don't want it to feel like you've been like cinched in a corset and like squeezed in to like you don't even get to breathe anymore. But it's about peeling back the layers and asking some questions for yourself. Something like, what problem does my dream client wake up thinking about at 3 a.m.? What do I believe they deserve that the world keeps telling them they cannot have? So I'm telling you, you can build the business you want, and I'm telling you that I can help you get there. And this is what it looks like. That's what I think that they deserve. But the world is telling them that no, you have to live in this box of things that you should do. So what do I believe? What do you believe as a listener that your ideal customer deserves that the world and they cannot have? Clarity is about aligning your brand with your why. So why I want to do this thing, why I want to help people, why it's so important. And when your message is clear, of who you serve and how you do it, and you have stories and you have the messy middle to talk about how you got there, it cuts through the noise like a lighthouse in a storm. That is my safe place over there. I need to go towards that person. So, one of my clients, she was a burnout recovery coach, We all have heard this before, right? Like burnout is real. She kept posting
Mm,
tips and inspiration, but she really wasn't getting any traction. And the reason why was her message was fuzzy. When we clarified that she helps helpers, so helping professions, who've lost their spark, so people who, I'm a nurse and I want to take care of everybody, but when a nurse feels like they've been used and abused and out the door because it's just a commodity, everything has shifted. Suddenly
yeah,
people feel seen, right? And they now know who to reach out because she's known to help people like that find their joy again in the thing that they love to do. So if your message is a little bit fuzzy, like like the glasses, I've ever been to the eye doctor where they keep like A or
oh
B,
God, yeah.
A or B, right? When it's not quite
Sometimes I'm
clear.
like, I don't know, I don't
I know, like
know.
just pick one.
Just
Yeah.
tell me.
But when your audience feels confused and not captivated, that's a problem. And clarity creates confidence in you, but also confidence in who exactly is your customer. Oh, that's me. Now I feel seen like that's me. I know that that's me. I can raise my hand now and say that's me, and that's the person who can help me. And that confidence builds a level of trust that you just can't make up. You just can't make up. And that trust leads to connection, right? So now I'm trusting, know, like, trust. Once I have trust, now that connection can happen because it's been clearly stated in a way that can build that connection and be felt at a really deep level. And so many of us, I mean, Lisa, I don't think I'm alone in this. So many of us want to be seen. We don't want to feel
Absolutely.
alone, right? We don't want to feel alone. And we're looking for the perfect person to help us feel seen and to help us out of the thing that we're struggling with.
Hmm.
But if you're not clear in how you do that and who you help, then it's going to be fuzzy and no one's going to know to raise their hand and connect with that. So that's the
Totally.
first part. Clarity is really, really key. Second part is consistency. Are you showing up in a way that feels true to you? So not just throw about a bunch of posts. Lisa, please don't. Please don't. Please don't contribute to the noise. Please don't do that. Um,
A selfie
so,
every day? You don't want to see a selfie of me every day?
no, please don't. Please, as pretty as you are. No, please don't. I want everyone to throw away the toxic idea that
Hmm.
consistency equals daily posting or content fatigue. Please, no. Please, please, please. Consistency means that you are recognizable, that you have a brand promise and you deliver on the promise, that you are known for something specific and you go deep into that. Your voice, your values, your vibe, those are the brand anchors that people then begin to know who you are. And when you show up with the same heart and the same energy that your brand promises, your audience doesn't even need constant content. They just need that consistent alignment. So, consistency is not just throwing a bunch of content out there. It is alignment in what you do and who you serve. So, when we talk to our clients, we talk about having 4 to 6 key content pillars of the things you want to be known for. So, for Ashley, inclusion and advocacy is one, right? So, when she consistently talks about inclusion and advocacy in her content, she's showing up as herself consistently. But if she starts talking about cooking, does that speak to her brand? No. I mean, she
When
could probably put something out there that she cooked a really cool meal or had some people over or something to show some humanity. But consistently in alignment with her content pillars, that's the space I want you to think about. So imagine your brand as a friend. If they showed up one week in full glam, like all done up in all the nice things, and the next they ghosted you for 3 weeks, how would you feel? Like,
yeah, empty,
who are they? Like,
confused. Ghost? Was that
yeah,
a ghost? Did that just happen? Yeah.
like, yeah. Is she okay? Like, it would feel very disconnected for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Is she okay?
yeah. So you want to show up with integrity as who you are. And honestly, it's so much easier to do that than to show up as a fake person. Like it's
Yeah,
exhausting to be somebody you're not. But show up with integrity, but not obligation to just throw up content.
right,
Because then you literally contribute to the noise and people just scroll. Post less often if you need to, but when you do, it
right.
must feel like you and your and who you are and who you serve and the transformations that you offer. So that's consistency. So we've kind of debunked clarity, kind of debunked consistency. Now let's talk about conversation. That's the third C. Are you talking with your audience? Or are you talking at them? This is where the connection, I think, can really spark into something kind of cool. Most marketing feels like a speech. The brands that win, they feel like you're in their home.
Acne
They've welcomed you
popcorn.
onto their
Totally.
sofa. Yeah. They've given you a warm cup of coffee and had you sit down. So if you're listening, are you responding? And are you inviting your audience to see themselves in your story? Are you welcoming them into your home of the transformation that you can offer? So I kind of shared the story a little bit earlier, Lisa, before we went live, and I talked about how I once posted something about being the cobbler's kid with no shoes. That when I hadn't updated some stuff in years, like I'm a marketer and I didn't do what I was supposed to do as a marketer, like I didn't even show up. The amount of people that got back to me, like my friends in the space were like, um, I see you because sometimes it's really hard as a marketer to do the thing for yourself that you do for everyone else. It's really hard and that resonated for some reason for people because they've all felt that way. Like I was so busy doing that I wasn't actually participating in that space.
Mm.
And I think in some ways I was actually avoiding it because then I had to really figure out my voice and show up in a way. And I was so caught in the shoulds and all the things that I had to do that wasn't even, it was just content at that point. It wasn't a real conversation. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see a lot of stories that I share about my son. Like I posted a picture recently of my son. We were at Universal Studios and he had the Harry Potter one and he was like staring at me and he was like, "Mom, watch." And here's this 9-year-old in the middle of this crowd with 9-year-old confidence. And I was asking myself, when did we lose that? What has to
Totally.
happen to us as people to lose the 9-year-old confidence? And like he owned that space in that moment. Like he was like, I am Harry Potter and I have magic and I have it in front of all of these people. And not only that, but watch me do it. It was so pure. And they call it unicorn like confidence because it's not like I'm trying to be egotistical or anything. It was just a genuine, I'm excited and look at this, right? So I will share stories like that about how I want you to sit in those kinds of confident moments and help you get that back. That's something that I want to do. So I use stories like that, and that's very conversational. And anybody who has a child knows a 9-year-old confidence and the phrase "Mom, watch me" like 5,000 times. They know it. So it was very much a connecting moment because most of my clients are founders who are women who have children. So for us, that works, right? That works. But it was letting you into my vacation. I literally invited you into my vacation, right? And into my son and our relationship to help you see this particular lesson or thing. And if any of you use ChatGPT to help you write, which is totally fine, they're a great assistant. Like I call them the sous chef of marketing. It's totally fine. Just make sure that you use the phrase say this like I'm talking to a friend in my living room, as opposed to just say it like a speech, because that changes the entire tone and invites them in a whole different way.
Totally.
As if I'm talking to my friend over coffee. So I use that a lot in my because I have these ideas, like I have this idea, but like they come up with and I'm like, no, 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 that's not quite right. Say it more like it's to
Yeah.
my friend, and that changes everything. So I want you to please like use those tools. That's great, but also modify them to really feel like you and very human to connect on a different level. And when I do those kinds of posts, like about the 9-year-old with the confidence or whatever, I get far more engagement on those kinds of posts than I get on anything else. So I have a little bit of a challenge for the
Ooh,
listeners
I
to
love
kind of
it.
take
I
this
love it.
idea and use it in your own content and the way you do things today. So I want you to pull up your last three posts right now. If you're driving, don't do that. But if you can, pull up your last three posts right now and ask yourself these three questions. Did I share something personal? Not dramatic, but real? Because your story is a bridge for them on that transformation. And then the second thing I want you to ask yourself is, did I speak directly to one person? I tell my clients that picture your favorite client and as if you're having a conversation with them and name them, Eileen, whatever her name is, Eileen, and as if you're telling her, go back to the conversations you've had with her. Share those conversations. That's real. No vague, hey everyone. No, please don't do that. Speak like you're writing to your best friend or your favorite client. And then the third thing is, did I invite a response or reflection? Comments, DMs, polls, questions. They open a door for connection. Did you ever feel this way? Or do you have a child who says, "Mom, watch me every day"? Like, do you have that child? Create the conversation. There's a lot of lurkers on social media, a
Yep.
lot of
A
lurkers.
lot.
But you might get a couple who actually do converse with you or send you a DM or something offline. Or the next time you talk to them, like, oh my gosh, your content is amazing. I love it. So even though they're not engaging, they're seeing it and they are engaging in them with it themselves, like internally. So don't always think it's not hitting if you're not getting some of that, because I mean, LinkedIn specifically is there's so many lurkers. It's not as much engagement as you'll see in other places.
Yeah, totally,
So the
totally.
other thing I want you to kind of do is maybe journal this or put it in your notes app or something is where am I missing one of the C's? So the C's are clarity, consistency, and conversation. Where am I missing one of those C's? And then what do I do naturally? Which C kind of comes easy? And which one scares me the most? And the one that scares you the most, that's your next bold step. That's the thing you
I
need to
love it.
try.
I love it. I love it.
That's the thing you need to like step out of your comfort zone and try and see if it lands a little differently this time. The messy middle, the vulnerable stuff, the trauma, the things that I have encountered in my life have made me the kind of person I am. My mother's adopted, I'm adopted, I've adopted. I'm a military spouse. We move every 3 years. I've had to rebuild my business every 3 years. You talk about there's so much in my story. I almost died when I was 19. But all those moments make me completely empathetic, very compassionate, very understanding. They've taught me the price that this life has and how precious it is. They've taught me about connection and why that's so important and how to make connection because I've had to do it so much in my life. I've moved 28 times in my life. So that connection has been something I've always had to get everywhere I've gone. Those messy middles, those hard times, those things have made you the fundamental person you are. So I welcome and encourage you to share more of that because that shows who you are. And there's somebody, I promise you, who maybe moved 28 times too and gets it and needs you to help them get through this thing.
Totally.
That's going to resonate for them. So, really leaning into that part of who you are. Share the messy middle. I know it's hard. You still get to determine how much of it you share And there's just some things you may not ever feel comfortable sharing. And actually, when I push post or publish on those particular posts, I'm the most nervous about what will happen. Like, what will people say? What will people think? But just like we talked about before we pushed record here today, Lisa, you're not gonna, if you are trying to please everyone, you're gonna please no one. And there are just some people who will not get it or understand it, and that is okay. They're probably not your perfect client anyway. So it's okay. And if you're not turning some people off, you're probably not doing a good enough job yet. So I feel like that's kind of
Yeah,
a good meter to like tell if you like. I know my magic isn't for everyone. Probably some people think it's silly and maybe a little bit childish and some of those things, but that's okay. That's I don't want to work with them anyway. If they don't believe in a little bit of magic and some of that stuff, then they're probably not the people that I want to work with. So the thing
yeah,
that I
that's,
think
I just wanted to say that's what I loved about you immediately is just you're unapologetically yourself. And you're helping your clients get to that point as well and to just leave it be. Like I know there's been so many times where I'm like hovering over the, post button or send button. And then I do it and I'm like, oh my God. And then I turn away and yeah, but it's like that gets easier and easier and
it
easier.
does.
It's
It
really,
does.
really hard to share the deepest, most authentic parts of yourself because we don't usually do that, unfortunately. But thank you. That was so amazing and such amazing tips. I hope no one stopped in traffic to do the tip there.
The last
Accident
part of
on.
the last part of the connection thing that I think is so powerful, and I kind of alluded to it in Ashley's story, but this idea of the ripple effect that happens once you really connect. So for me,
Yeah,
it affected my husband and my child and the way I showed up in the world outside of work as well. But the things that can happen in your business that I think can come from connection really can be so much bigger than even that. When you connect deeply with people, people don't just buy, they belong. And I oftentimes say that we're creating not just businesses, we're creating movements because it's just that much impact. I've seen brands that I've helped inspire community initiatives, fund nonprofits, support single moms, change lives. I've seen people change lives. So one of my clients, she's a pet nutritionist. It's the company called the Pet Bistro out of Michigan. It's Beastro, Beastro. This is really cute. And they feed organic, raw, natural foods that are meant for animals, not a filler filled ingredient dog food that never was meant for nature, like
right.
very bad for you. So her whole concept was, what if pets were nourished the way that nature intended? That was her whole concept. So the Pet Bistro has always been passionate about holistic wellness for animals. They believe that pets deserve more than just a long life. They deserve a thriving one. But one day, her passion collided with her purpose in the most unexpected way, which is so fun. She had learned that the local canine units in the surrounding towns of hers, the police dogs, who serve in police departments, were kind of struggling. They were dying early. They're a big investment financially, and they weren't able to perform at their peak levels. So she found out that these working dogs, they work 8 hours a day at least, just like us humans, were being fed a really low grade kibble, and they were sluggish and undernourished and physically uncomfortable and had lots of health problems, itching, dry skin, really like stinky bowel things, all kinds of stuff happening. And they were still expected to perform at this really high level in very dangerous situations. Like they needed them to sniff out
Yeah,
danger and chase down suspects and protect people, right? So it really bothered her that they were not being fed appropriately. So she reached out. She just said, I'm going to reach out. It wasn't a marketing campaign. It was really came from her heart. Like these dogs need to be fed well, or like someone's going to die. So it wasn't a sales pitch, but with a question from the heart. How can I help them? And what followed, I believe, is really magical because like the ripple effects is so powerful. So the Pet Bistro began donating raw food, better kibble to several police departments. I think about six of them. And the dogs, for the first time, had real nutrient dense food. And the difference, the police officer said, was almost immediate, Lisa.
Wow, that's amazing. I
Officers
believe it.
began saying that their dogs were more focused, were more energized, they were more mobile.
Yeah.
And the Pet Bistro didn't even stop there. They partnered with a local canine chiropractor and covered the cost of adjustments for adjusting these dogs, these working dogs, because they're running and jumping and whatever, and they get injured just like us, right? So helping them move without pain so they could do their job happily, because this is like they love this, right? But also easily. So think about that for a second. A pet wellness brand helped protect the protectors. Normally, you wouldn't think that's even like a connection. That doesn't even make sense, right? But here's what's really powerful about that. This wasn't just smart marketing, although it was really great. It was a deeply aligned brand action, something she truly believed in. It came from her core values of holistic health and community service and as respect for animals. Honestly, that alignment has pushed out to her community, right? Stronger bonds between the police department and the local business and first responders, more awareness around wellness needs of working animals. And yes, more visibility for the Pet Bistro, but always as a byproduct of heart-led action, not the goal. Like a true heart-led action. So it's not always about the bottom line. Sometimes it's about being the brand that steps up quietly and boldly and authentically, and she's gotten so much great PR around this. They've given her awards from the police department. The newspaper comes and takes pictures. I mean, there's like so much nice PR that's come around from this and all of her local communities because she's touched so many of them that it makes her customers feel good. It makes the police department feel good. It makes her
Yes.
feel good. Like it's just an amazing ripple that was super authentic and done for the right reasons. And because of it, some amazing things have happened from it.
I was just going to
That's
say
what
that.
connection is.
That is what connection is. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking about that as like the ripple effect from what she did. And it's like spreading like wildfire.
The movement.
And the movement. So there is another segment that we wanted to cover today, but we're running out of time. And I
Okay.
really want you to speak to our audience and to give them some final thoughts on this. You've given so much value and given so many tips that people can utilize and start using right now to change the way they show up online, to change the way they show up in real life. What
Mhm.
are some final takeaways that you want to speak to our audience on before we wrap up for today?
Well, I think probably really leaning into those three C's, obviously super good, but where is your brand already positioned to make a difference? Like lean harder into that, but also what lights you up? And how can that fuel something bigger than just your bottom line? Because your brand isn't just a business. It can be a vehicle for change, a voice for good, a chance to build a real legacy that goes far beyond whatever you can imagine. And that's what we see when we talk to our clients is like this much bigger legacy that goes far beyond just a business. But just really leaning into that impact of connection, that one connection can change everything. There's a lot of mistakes people make with this too. There's the idea that people mimic and they, instead of mirroring, so they copy. Don't copy. Don't get caught in that competition trap. Reflect your own truth always. They skip that messy middle. They don't talk about that. And that I think is where the gold is. Talk about your messy middle. That is pure gold. Um, that's the most relatable part of what you'll do. So share it. And then they forget their heart. They outsource too much and they lose their voice. Do not lose your voice in the process because it'll become something that my business became something that it wasn't because customers had too much input that like it just became something, it became its own beast. Make sure you stay true to yourself. If you stay clear in who you are, it's easy yes and no's for things. There are things that we could do for branding and marketing that we choose not to do because it's just not right for us. But we have great partners we can refer you to. We have gotten much better at saying no because it just doesn't fully align. So slow down, get still, ask, what do I want people to feel when they experience my brand? One last tip. We wrote out our entire client journey, all the steps, what happens, all the like transactional things that happen. And then we asked ourselves at every touch point, what do we want our customers to feel? And it allowed it opportunities for us to add in little factors of surprise and delight. And it matters how people feel in that process, how we even write that to them, what we say to them. It's not just a transactional email. Actually, if you go to my website and you look at my cookies, like just my cookies, you have to allow or accept or whatever. It actually even has like a magical element. Like every single touch point can be a little bit magical to you if you really think it through from start to finish and be consistent in that alignment from start to finish and you show up exactly as you are, it will be it'll be amazing. So, the last thing, you are not too late. Even if you've been doing it for 30 years, this is the time. This is the time. Do it now. You are not too much. You showing up fully as yourself is not too much. If it's too much for someone, they're not the right person. And your brand already has magic in it. Remember Dorothy? I'm going to go way back to Dorothy now. She always had the ability to go home. You already have the magic. You just have to make the choice to share it. And you can do that starting today with a post. You can be more vulnerable. You can share some messy middle. You can do that right now. But if you ever feel disconnected or you ever feel overwhelmed and you need help, I want to invite you to take, we have a clarity quiz on wickedlybranded.com that can kind of help you what areas you think you need help with. We certainly would love to be on the journey with you, but I want you to take a moment to breathe and reflect and reconnect with the heart of your brand and see where you can take the next best steps for your brand. And I know you can do this. And I know that the perfect audience is waiting to connect with you. Just help them find you. That's
Beautiful. So that is Beverly Cornell, everyone. And I know she's inspired me in this last hour and a little bit. And I know that people need someone like you to help guide them there. Your experience, the way you work with your clients, the way you speak, you're speaking the language to really help and affect people who want more business, but to be more authentic and to
Mhm.
actually live that way, not just be authentic. People spew that all the time. Like, be authentic. What does that mean? It means feeling in your power, being aligned. And I love that you can provide that for everyone. So thank you so much for showing up today and for delivering so much value, for being wickedly awesome and providing such amazing tips. It was a pleasure meeting you today, Beverly.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I always enjoy these conversations, and I really do want to help people find what I have found and what we've helped our clients find. Once you find it, you'll never want to go back. And so, this ability to share that with you and my journey and kind of where I've been and where I've struggled has also powerful for me. So, thank you so much for giving space to be able to have these kinds of conversations.
Amazing, amazing. And to our audience, thank you for showing up, for supporting us. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, please leave them in the comment section of the podcast, and we'll make sure that Beverly gets it and sees it. Her contact information, her website, and all the things, the free clarity quiz, all that will be linked in the show notes as well. So you will have easy access to her. Um, until next time, my name is Lisa Urbanski with The Advisor. You just heard from Beverly Cornell. Have a great day, everyone. Cheers.